Hello, my name is Daniel, and I would like to talk about spirituality, but in an easy way. Because usually people think of spirituality as something very profound, something very deep. And it isn't like that, in my opinion, in my perception. If you want a good example, look at kids. They're not deep, but they're happy. And this is exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for happiness, and we're looking for joy. We're looking for peace. Peace is very important, extremely important, because when you feel peace, you have time to be conscious. And this time I would like to talk about why we have to love everyone, including our enemies. It is not very common for people to hear what the exact problem of humans are. And the exact problems of humans is, and this is the first time you've heard it, is fragmentation of the consciousness or of the soul. Fragmentation is a real problem. What does fragmentation mean? Well, fragmentation means that we take every thought of something different. Okay? We take every thought as not us. And I want to make it easy for you to understand that you have to love your enemies. Because simply, when you think about your enemy, you are using your brain to think about your enemy. So where is your enemy? Your enemy is inside of you and is you. Because you think about it. It's a movie that you're making and that you think it's different from you. That's the fragmentation. Okay? That's the real problem, and that's what you have to solve. You see, people think that spirituality has to do with someone dressed in an orange garment with a big beard and, talking about spiritual things and, deep things, But it's not like that. It's easy. It's simple. It's very simple. We come with our problem. When we become humans, we already have a problem, and that problem is duality. Duality means that there is good and evil in our lives. And then out of that, you develop all kinds of concepts and things that you think have nothing to do with you. For example, if you see someone on TV, a politician that is being accused for corruption, you think of the world as corrupt. You think of the politician's world as corrupt. But in reality, what eyes are you using to see that? What ears are you using to hear that? And what brain are you using to process that? Your eyes, your ears, your brain. For instance, what life is showing you is that what you see outside is a mirror of yourself. Each one of us is co-creating this world. But when it comes to you, the whole world is you. And if you see something that you don't like, it's the reality, something that you don't like about yourself. It's a feeling that you dislike inside, and you dislike that dislike feeling. This is weird. You don't like the dislike feeling. And then it's not your fault, but it's a problem with the mind, The mind takes over the feeling and steals it from you, and then it makes a story out of it that takes out of your memory. You see? So you have a bad feeling, you don't like what you're seeing, and then you blame it on somebody else. You say, look, these people are corrupt, or look at this world is full of wars, and everything like that. But remember, if it is affecting you, if you are there perceiving you then you have the chance to change it if you want. So this is why you have to love everything and everyone. First of all, remember that any enemy that you have is inside of yourself, which means you. If you think about somebody who did something wrong to you, which head are you using to think about the person? Your head. Which brain are you using to process it? Your brain. Which body are you using to feel this feeling that makes you feel bad? It's inside your body. So it is you. It is you. And all you have to do is, and that's what we come to this world to. We come to life to make the darkness a light. We come here, this is what the word enlighten means. To enlighten means that you have the highest ideal of the spirit as human. And then you can change the world by loving everything you do, by loving everything you feel, by loving everything you think, by loving everything you hear, and by loving everything you see. Is that easy? It's very difficult because you have been doing the opposite all your life. Okay? But it's like trying to talk about spirituality to a kid. He won't be interested. Why? Because he's happy. You see, he is happy. And that's what you want to look for. Joy and peace. And out of that, you get everything. So remember, the biggest problem is fragmentation. Every thought you think about, let's say somebody whose name is Charles did something wrong to you. So you say, Charles did something wrong to me. But let me tell you something. Everything you go through is attracted to you by old feelings and by old emotions. Because inside we have a savage horse that is running everywhere and can run everywhere without stop or limit. You have to put a stop and limit to that by controlling what you think and what you feel. But firstly, you have to know that everything you think about is a piece of yourself. Okay? But you put another name to it and you think it is different. So this is why you have to love everyone. Because if you love everyone, you're loving yourself. Does that mean that somebody did something wrong and can go just like freely around doing wrong things? No. If you have to send somebody to jail, you have to do it. If you have to stop talking to somebody because that person did something wrong to you, you have to do it. If you have to go to police to denounce someone who did something wrong to you, you have to do it. But do it out of love. Don't do it out of anger. Because that anger is going to create another situation in the future. You see? So this is why forgiveness is very important. Forgiveness is important because forgiveness means that you're not thinking, you're not torturing anymore yourself. Because that's the problem. You torture yourself thinking about the wrong things. Could be anything. Could be a situation, could be a person, anything. You see? Somebody did something wrong to you, okay. At the beginning you feel very upset. You have to feel very upset because you're human. And you have to want revenge. And I'm not saying revenge is good, but if somebody stole money from you and you can take that person to the police, that's the right thing to do. You could call that revenge, but no, that's not revenge. That is the justice that we have in this world. But inside, you have to love the person, and that is very difficult. Because remember, the problem is already, the real problem is inside of yourself. Because you have a dislike feeling and you can't handle it. You see, you can't handle it because you don't like it, and then the mind steals it and starts just like shooting everywhere like a machine gun Okay, no, it was James, it was Mary, and it was my father, and no, it was my aunt, and it was my uncle, and it was the president of the country, and it was the economy of everything, but the feeling is inside of you. And all you have to do is enlighten that feeling, accept it. Maybe it will take hours, maybe it will take days, maybe it will take months. But if you accept it as yours and you become conscious of it, it will go away. And then you will have grown. Okay? The world spiritual has become too poetic, but it doesn't really have the feeling, the meaning you think. Okay? But I don't want to talk about this now. I will talk about this in another video, but it's going to be a hard video because it's going to crumble your concept that you have about spirituality. People think of spirituality like just, I put my heel on my neck and that's, I'm very spiritual. I'm vegan, so I'm very spiritual. It doesn't mean very spiritual. Okay? It doesn't mean that because the problem is here, not here. Okay? It's here. Here, of course, there is two opposite forces fighting against each other. But you help or you fix it by becoming aware of it. The problem is that you are feeling bad and you don't want to accept that feeling. And because you're feeling bad, then your husband or your wife does something wrong, and then you go to the lawyer, and then you request divorce, and then you go to court, and then you start fighting, and then, like, you sue this person because she said this to you, or he said this to you, or this and that, and then you go to court, and then if you realize our lives is just a crazy thing. We should feel peace. We should feel joy. Okay? And you have to remember that everything that you see or you experience in your life is you. And the world is helping you by the world is telling you how you are. If you have a problem outside, you see that everything outside is a mess, you have to realize that you are inside a mess. And then the mirror, which is the world, is telling you the reality, so you should be very thankful to that. Okay? It doesn't mean that somebody can come and slap you and you say, I deserve that slap because I attracted it. You did attract the slap, but it doesn't mean you have to accept it from somebody else. Okay? You have to be very conscious of it. Okay? Yes, whatever happens to you is your responsibility, but it doesn't have to be your fault. If it is somebody's fault, then you have to throw it to somebody. It's like I told you, somebody did something wrong to you, somebody stole some money from you, you have to take that person to the police. But inside you have to also make your job. And the job is to love the situation, to forgive, and to love everyone. That is so hard. It's so hard because we have been trained to do the opposite. We haven't been allowed to be ourselves. We were kids who wanted to we were curious about the world. But what happens then? Society told us, I said, this is your religion, this is the way you should think, this is the way you should dress, this is the way you should act, and this is how your future has to be. You see, so in reality, nobody's really living the life they wanted. And when they're getting close to death, they complain. They say, I didn't do what I wanted. Because firstly, you're human. You have to remember that. Firstly, you are human. You are not Argentinian. You're human. You are not Canadian. You're human. You're not French. You're human. You see? So being human has to go first. And the rest of the programs have to be second. And it's very difficult to do what I'm telling you to do. Because if you have a tribe, let's say a religious tribe, or a social tribe, or economical tribe, or whatever tribe, Tribe, if you have a tribe, and then you say, I want to have a life of my own, people are going to hate you. Your couple might kick you and say, get out of here. You might lose your job. You might lose your friends. So you should be very, very aware of what you do, because this is not an easy world. You might be alone, but I have to tell you, the world alone means all one. But that's another story that I'll talk about in another video. I wanted to make this is a series of videos that I call Easy Spirituality, so you can understand what spirituality is. Because I think spirituality, the concept has been taken to something that I don't agree with. See, like I told you, people think spirituality is if you have a beard and then you start speaking about weird things and about dimensions and angels and things like that, and that's not spirituality, because the problems are here. The problems are here. There was a famous psychiatrist called Carl Jung from Switzerland. That guy was more spiritual than anyone else, because he discovered the problem of humankind along with Freud, okay, which is the fragmentation of consciousness. And again, you see, if you prepare a cake, let's say a carrot cake, and you take a piece of that cake, it contains the whole cake because it's made out of the same thing. You see, so every thought that you have is you, disguised as something else, but it's you because it's happening inside. So if you could see everything that is happening inside your head, and without throwing it outside, without saying, of course you need your thinking to say, John is not me. Of course you need that. But when it comes to the psychology, if you see that John bothers you, then John is not the problem. You are the problem. But you throw it on John. You say, I don't like the way John is, so please change so I can be happy. It's not going to happen. Then you get another person, another friend, or another couple, or another job, and you see that nothing has changed. And of course, number one thing that you need to listen to this kind of videos, to watch these videos, is spiritual hunger. And we'll talk about it in another video. For the time being, thank you very much. My name is Daniel. I am recording this video from Canary Islands, the European community. And I hope you have a great day, and I hope you learned something today. Thank you very much.